A message bled from my station wall. Our priest said it was a death sentence from God. The last thing my wife said to me wasn't, "I love you." It was, "God is watching." She said it with a rattling breath, her knuckles white around the little silver crucifix I'd bought her. I thought it was the morphine talking. I wish it had been. That was 6 months ago. Now, I start my mornings with bourbon and 2-oxy, a ritual to sand down the edges of the day before it even begins. My home is a rust-streaked trailer overlooking a scummy pond that smells like dead things on a hot day. Redwater Creek, Montana. A town where God might be watching, but he sure as shit isn't helping. I'm the sheriff here. It's a job that mostly involves dealing with the fallout from desperation. Fentanyl overdoses, domestic disputes that start over $5, kids stealing scrap metal to feed their habit. It's a slow-motion collapse, and I'm just the guy who fills out the paperwork. I walked into the station, the stale coffee smell hitting me like a fist. My deputy, Kalen, was waiting. He was born here, left for college, then came back for reasons that defied all logic. He still had that fire in his gut, the belief that you could somehow scrub the rot out if you just tried hard enough. Poor bastard. He dropped a file on my desk. "Got a new problem, Asher. We're full up on problems, kid. This one's different. This new variant of Fent, they're calling it Grey Death. It's not just killing people. The Jakes over at Laurel say it's making them violent before the end. Beach house." I looked at him over the rim of my mug. The photo of Leora on my desk seemed to stare back, her smile a ghost from a different life. A life before the sickness. Before I started praying to a god I didn't believe in, then cursing him when he didn't answer. "It's not in our jurisdiction yet, Kalen. Don't go borrowing trouble." His shoulders slumped. He looked like a kid I'd just told Santa wasn't real. "They're gonna bring it here, Asher. It's just a matter of time." "Time is all we got," I said, and turned back to my desk. He eventually walked away. Give him a few more years. He'll learn. The only way to survive in a town that's already dead is to stop trying to save it. Redwater Creek is a religious town, if you count the number of dusty crosses on dashboards. Father Alcuin runs the old stone church on the hill. He has this patient, weary smile he gives everyone. The kind of smile that says he knows you spent Saturday night drinking yourself blind and screaming at your wife, but he'll save a seat for you on Sunday anyway. He preaches forgiveness. He talks about grace. But I see the look in his eyes when he watches the junkies nod off on the library steps. It isn't pity, it's disgust. He's just better at hiding it than I am. He's tending a garden of weeds and praying for roses, and deep down, he knows it's hopeless. We all do. The next morning, the world ended. It started with the rain. I woke up to a sound like handfuls of gravel being thrown against my trailer. The sky outside wasn't gray, it was the color of a deep bruise. And the rain, it wasn't water. It left greasy, rainbow-colored streaks on my window, and the air smelled of ozone and wet rot. The power was out. My truck barely started, the engine coughing like an old man. Driving to the station, the radio was dead. Not static, just a profound, empty silence, like the frequency itself had ceased to exist. I ran inside, soaked in that oily rain. Kalen was already there, his face pale. "Phone lines are dead, cell service too. It's like we're cut off," he said. The air in the station was wrong. It was heavy, thick, you could feel it pressing on your skin. A low hum vibrated through the floorboards, a feeling more than a sound. Then it started. From the wall behind the dispatch desk, a single black line, thin as a hair, appeared in the plaster. It moved, not like a crack from settling, but with purpose. It smelled awful, like an open grave. The line branched out, forming other lines, the black, tar-like ichor weeping from the very stone of the building. We just stood there, watching this thing write. The letters were stark, perfect, an ancient script of pure malevolence. "What the fuck?" Kalen whispered. The words hung in the suffocating air as the message finished itself. "I will fill your mountains with the dead. Your hills, your valleys, and your streams will be filled with people slaughtered by the sword. I will make you desolate forever. Your cities will never be rebuilt. Then you will know that I am God." My blood went cold. I've seen dead bodies. I've seen what a man can do to another man with a shotgun. I've seen what a man can do to another man with a shotgun. None of it touched the pure, bottomless words bleed out of the wall. I don't know why I did it. Instinct, I guess. I ran out into the greasy rain, back to my truck, and drove. Straight to the church. On the way, I saw Ronan, the owner of the town's only bar. He was on his hands and knees in the middle of the street, his body convulsing. He looked up as I screeched to a halt, and a string of black bile hung from his lips. "Just the flu, Sheriff," he rasped, trying to smile. "Bad one going around." I didn't answer. I just slammed the truck back into gear and kept going. I found Father Alcuin in the sanctuary, staring at the altar. "You need to come with me," was all I could get out. When he saw the wall, all the color drained from his face. He reached out a trembling hand, then pulled it back, as if afraid the words might burn him. "It's Ezekiel," he whispered. Chapter 35. A prophecy of judgment, of absolute destruction for the enemies of the Lord. Just then, the building groaned. The floor shook so hard we were thrown against the desks. Another wall, the one by the holding cells, began to weep. The black ichor poured out faster this time, forming a new message. "Your hearts fill with dread as you know of no redemption. I fill your people with plague and burn your land. I fill your lungs with sickness and turn your minds to an inescapable ravenous. Hunger towards your own. You will become a parasite amongst your towards your own. You will become a parasite amongst your kin. Your speckies must expire." Father Alcuin stared at the new words, and he started to cry. Not loud, just silent tears tracking through the dust on his cheeks. The plagues of Egypt he choked out. It wasn't a punishment, it was a cleansing, a scouring. So he could start over. He looked at me, at Kalen, his eyes hollowed out by a terror so profound it was almost holy. "He isn't judging us, Sheriff. He's unmaking us." Kalen shook his head, his hand hovering over the grip of his pistol. "This is insane, some kind of mass hallucination. Bad water, poison gas." Before he could finish, the old radio on the dispatch desk crackled. It wasn't plugged in. It had no power. A voice came through the speaker, a sound like a million cicadas buzzing in perfect, horrible harmony. It spoke one sentence: "The soil is sored." And then the screaming began outside. We rushed to the windows. The rain had stopped. People were stumbling out of their homes. Then they'd fall, their bodies jerking on the wet pavement. Under their skin, black lines spread like lightning, a web of pulsating veins. They'd scream and claw at their own faces, tearing away strips of flesh. Then they got up. They got up, and they turned on each other. Not with anger, not with hate, just a blank, mechanical hunger. A wife chewing on her husband's arm. A man smashing his neighbor's head against the curb and then bending down to feed. I watched it, paralyzed. Inescapable, ravenous hunger. The words on the wall weren't a threat. They were a description of the weather. A searing pain exploded in my chest. I doubled over, coughing, and sprayed a mouthful of hot blood and black, viscous liquid onto the floor. Beside me, Kalen and Alcuin did the same. We fell to our knees, gasping, the sickness from the wall now inside us. "I fill your lungs with growing sickness." Kalen started screaming, not in fear anymore. It was a shriek of pure animal agony. He clawed at his own throat, his eyes rolling back until they were milky white. Then he launched himself, not at me, but at the priest. They went down in a tangle of limbs. I pulled my gun, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold it. The sight wasn't level. My vision swam. Alcuin wasn't fighting back. He was just lying there, staring up at the ceiling as Kalen, my deputy, the good kid, tore at his face with his teeth. The priest's eyes met mine for a second. There was no fear in them, just a final, horrifying acceptance. He knew. He understood what was happening. I felt it then, coiling in my gut. Not pain, not sickness, hunger. A deep, gnawing, absolute need that erased everything else. It erased Leora. It erased my name. It erased the gun in my hand. I looked down at my own arms, saw the black veins crawling toward my fingertips like thirsty roots. The world wasn't ending, it had already ended. This is just the cleanup, and I am one of the janitors.